This is the fifth industrial revolution. My name is Dan Sodergren. I have a confession to make to start off with, though. I have a confession to make. I am not as environmentally friendly as I'd want to be. I'm not. I try to do lots of stuff for the environment, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't done as great as I used to be. Nowhere near as good as I used to be. When I was very young, I did different things, like recycle. Did you know now you can recycle soft plastics at the co-op? I didn't until yesterday. I should be doing that more. I also occasionally got a plane. I got a plane last week. That was bad of me. Naughty Dan. Should be getting trains more. When I was very, very young, I started a company called THDC, the Hemp Trading Company. And the Hemp Trading Company made loads of cool stuff out of hemp. We were kind of eco-warriors with these guys, the brothers, the Lawson brothers. This is when I was younger. But now, because I've had lots of different companies, mainly in technology, I've become known as a tech futurist. So that's what I'm known as. And I also now work occasionally on the BBC, which is really near to here. And of course, we have the joy of the BBC sofa, which I'm occasionally on, which is great. So there's me. That's what I do. I'm called Dan Sodergren. I do talks around AI, the future of work in technology. I also written a couple of books. One of them's called The Fifth Industrial Revolution. I talk about being an author now because at the end of this talk, I will give you that book for free. I'll give you that book for free. I know, lovely of me. Scan the QR code and get it for free. Thank you. Anyway, only three things in life, ladies and gentlemen. Only three things in life. There's time, money, and energy. Time, money, and energy. I'm going to think about these now. The world feels like it's getting quicker and quicker, more full of energy than before. It's kind of almost spinning out of control. It's because we're in this thing called the fifth industrial revolution. And you're a clever crowd, so I'm not going to talk about the first, second, third, and fourth industrial revolutions. I'm only going to talk about the fifth. It's where we are now. This fifth industrial revolution is the most important part and the most important moment in human history. It is a huge thing. Most revolutions took generations. This one is going to take years. In fact, it might even take months. That's how quick it is. And that's why we might feel that we're like Dorothy. This is my metaphor for today's talk, by the way. Like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. And we are being taken away in this kind of tornado of change. And we might feel it's been happening to us and we have no control over it. The thing about The Wizard of Oz is it's not just a children's story. It's actually it's a map of the human condition and transformation. I don't know if they knew that when they wrote it, but it is. So we have the different characters. We've got the Scarecrow, we've got the Tin Man, we've got the Lion, we've got Dorothy. They all map to different intelligences. And in my book, The Fifth Industrial Revolution, I talk about these four intelligences. And they are artificial intelligence, emotional intelligence, independent intelligence, and then organizational intelligence. And that's what I want you to think about today. And it kind of maps onto The Wizard of Oz. And you might be thinking, that's a polite version of a different version. But what the heck? You might be thinking, what am I talking about? I'll explain. Today's talk is not really, it's a provocation, let's put it that way. I'm not here to persuade you about stuff, but I also know that, AI can hallucinate and lie, I get that bit, and it can create slop like this. Yes, this is just AI slop. But AI is amazing at what it can do. And let's link this into the story. This is about the Scarecrow. So the Scarecrow wanted a brain. The Scarecrow wanted a brain. And if you think about artificial intelligence, you can link it to energy. Artificial intelligence is like the new electricity. It's, as we did last year, if you think about it in real terms, over the last 100 years, electricity has changed everything. All these different industries were changed with electricity. Artificial intelligence will now do the same. And artificial intelligence is already here. The Scarecrow's already got the brain. It's helping so many people do things quicker and cleverer than ever before, taking processing time from weeks into minutes. But what does one AI prompt really cost the environment? What does it cost the planet? That's what we have to think about. Well, the answer is very simple. 0.3. 0.3 watts per hour. Also, 0.3 millilitres of water. There's different ways of thinking about energy, of course. And in carbon, it's 0.5 G. Don't worry about it. There's no quiz on that at the end. But the point being is that's how much energy it takes. Now, why should we care when we think about energy and as human beings? Well, if AI makes us more productive, and in knowledge sectors we're looking at about 30% more productive, that means we can do more with that spare time. And that's what I'm so excited about, because that time's got to go somewhere. And this is why, and what I think about today is that our human energy is therefore key. We are the change here. The human energy is key. So let's say, for example, you could do something like the 4-day work week. Knowing you can become more productive, you could do the 4-day work week. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not great at maths, so if the maths is wrong here, I asked my AI, so I'm going to blame my AI. So, the maths. If you didn't do one commute per week, it's something like, it's about 4 kilograms of carbon in each of those commutes. Therefore, 48 commutes per year you don't do equals 192 kilograms of carbon. What does that equal in prompts, though, you might be thinking? Well, it's more than 1 million AI prompts by that human change. More than 1 million. More than you'd use in most probably your lifetime in just having 1 year of doing a 4-day work week. So this is not an AI energy crisis. Far from it. It's actually a human decision-making crisis. And that's why human energy is so important. We seem to have kind of offloaded our guilt onto AI, and we're all moaning about data centers, etc. But did you know, for example, just in water alone, golf, ladies and gentlemen, golf takes up 30 times more than data centers in the US. So therefore, shouldn't we be thinking about stopping golf? Now, that's an emotive point for a couple of people in the audience, so I'm going to move on. But it links into emotions. And the Tin Man, of course, wanted a heart. Yeah, so this is about emotions. This is about time. Because emotions can either get you in the way, you can get in your way, or you can get on your way. And you've got to get on your way with these emotions. Emotional intelligence is most probably the scarcest resource that we've got in this whole revolution. Our human psychology is actually more important than the AI technology. And I'm going to say that again. Our human psychology is way more important than the AI technology. It's about how we go through the changes in life and how we go through. If you've ever done anything in change, you'll know this change model. And we go through these different stages of denial and frustration, etc. And everybody here and everyone online has that kind of same kind of change model, but around AI. You might be really excited by it. You might be in denial. You might be frustrated. All those different things are human emotions. But the big one I want you to think about is, do you have an open or a closed mind? Do you have an open or closed mind? Because that makes a difference to how quickly you will change. It also is hugely important, because think about it. We've got AI, and you've got the same productivity gains in 2 people. But one decides to do more stuff, the other one decides to do a 4-day work week. That's a human choice. It's the same tool, but with opposite effects for the environment. And that's what we've got to think about now. Is it the fear, or is it an opportunity? For AI, and for this 5th industrial revolution, all you need is your mobile phone. All you need is your mobile phone and an internet connection. That's all you need. Now, that is the first time ever that industrial revolution has been powered by individuals. But if you look at how people are looking at it around the world, you'll see the bits in blue are kind of negative about AI, the bits in green are positive about AI. And notice where the bits in green are. You know, this is the difference. We all have different ways of thinking about AI, but isn't it amazing, this kind of groupings around this? And I think this is to do with how we've looked at technology, how we look at things like robots in certain places. So you could look at it like the Tin Man, nice and smiley, or another one that we all maybe not know and love. I'm not going to mention the name of the film. But you see where we're going with this. The other thing to think about is, how positive are you about your job changing? I'm very positive about my job changing. I want my job to change. So ask yourself one question. Is your fear, or your thinking around AI, is it based on fear or based on evidence? That's what I want you to think about. The elephant in the room is that the leaders of the future, those people who are amazing, that have self-awareness and empathy, they will be the leaders for the future. That's what they'll need. They'll need emotional intelligence. Because without emotional intelligence, you're going to make people wait and organizations wait. And that's going to be a problem in revolution. Then there's 2 elephants in the room. Hopefully there's not going to be 3, otherwise that slide's going to get busy. But the point being, the second elephant in the room is you've got to think about psychological safety. Psychological safety around this whole moment of change. Because fear is the enemy of change. So if you've ever done any work in change, you'll know this one here. I'll say it's Mary Lippitt's from 1987. Great work by her. I'd have to cite it. It's brilliant work. And if we cut out the bits that we don't want from this, you'll find out it's very simple, that in reality, if you take all this equation, you look at it, the different things. If you look at skills there, if you take out the skills, you create anxiety. Take out skills, you create anxiety. And that's where we are at the moment. People have anxiety about this change because they're not trained up enough. So be kind. Be kind in what you're doing. Make sure we can be kind together. Only 3 things in life, ladies and gentlemen, only 3 things in life. Time, money, and energy. The lion wanted courage. Therefore, this is linked to money. So, why is independent intelligence important? Because the future belongs to those who can think for themselves today. And this is where it gets a little bit personal. So, what did you have for lunch? I'm going to say yesterday. Lions eat every day, so do we as human beings. What did you have for lunch yesterday? If you had a hamburger, it must probably cost you a tenner. Yep. And there'll be around about 30,000 AI prompts in there. If you change that, and instead of avocado on toast, that must probably be about 3,000 AI prompts. Cost you a £5. Let's go down to baked beans on toast. Might cost you a couple of quid. That's about 1,000 AI prompts when it comes to the rest and energy, etc. Can you see the differences there? You have the power to change this world, but you have to make the difference with you and your money too. The 5th industrial revolution, therefore, won't just happen to you. It's going to happen because you want it to change and with you. And this is going to be key. We have to stop waiting for other people, for organizations and for AI and for the world to, change in a way. We have to change. But we've also got to invest in ourselves. We've got to put money where our mouths are and train ourselves up to use AI. It's amazing at the moment. Around about 3 to 5% of people pay for AI. The rest of you don't. I'm here to tell you, invest in yourself. Learn it, own it, and pay for it. Because if you are not buying a product online, you are the product online. And that is most probably a subject for a different AI talk, but it's worth thinking about. There's a big danger there. So let's finish off with organisation intelligence. Of course, it's not organisation intelligence because, well, let's be fair. Yes, organisations are important. Organisations, universities, companies, governments, they are the force multipliers. Yes, they are. But remember, all you need is a mobile phone. All you need is an internet connection to take part in this fifth industrial revolution. There's no wizard coming. There's no wizard in this story. It is just you. You are the mini organisation. And just like Dorothy had in that story, you've always got the power. She had the power to go home. But wouldn't it be interesting to think, with those different people she was with, what if she didn't walk at all? What if she drove? What if she drove down the Yellow Brick Road? She got there a lot quicker. I think the whole story would have changed. But also, let's think about it. Was she old enough to drive? Could she be trained up to drive? Who knows about the driving thing? But let's just use it as a metaphor. The new technology would have changed the whole thing. But only 36% of us right now are saying we've got adequate AI training. 36% of us, this is a stat by Personio, 36% of us. That's people in this room, people in the world, people everywhere. 36% say that they've had adequate training. That is scary. So let's think about some of that training, and let's think about the metaphor of Dorothy and driving and the roads. How can we all change to use AI in a better way? Well, 3 rules, I'd say. So, number 1, learn how to use AI better. Yeah, instead of taking 9 prompts to do something, take 3. It's just better for the environment, right? Common sense. Do the shortest route. Okay, what else? Don't use AI for no reason. Don't be creating those, those cat videos that you keep doing. Yes, I've seen it, sir. Yes, yeah, thank you. The point being is, don't do it. You don't need to. Use it for work. Yeah, this is really important. Don't do unnecessary journeys and don't blame AI. Don't do that. There's no point. Another big one. Use the right AI for the thing you're doing. Yeah, don't use a truck for the school run and then blame the truck and the roads and the environment. It's your fault because that's what you did. Now, you might be thinking, but Dan, I don't know what the best things are. I don't know what the best model is. That's your job to learn it then, isn't it? Your job is to learn what the best tool, the most environmentally friendly tool is, so you do it in the best way. Just like paper waste used to be a problem, so e-waste will be, etc. I promised myself I wouldn't rant about that, so I won't. But what happens if you are perfect in every way? And like myself, and I don't always get trains, I sometimes get planes. What happens if you're a vegetarian? You work from home. You've got no car, you don't got any flights. You're perfect in every way. Well, I'd say actually there's different ways you could change. Maybe if you didn't watch Netflix. That's about 700 prompts, 2 hours of Netflix watching. What about bringing lunch from home rather than buying it out? It's about 3,000 prompts. Okay? What about skipping your latte? That's about 3,700 prompts. It is stunning what we can do to make a difference every day. And then this one, which you most probably wouldn't think I would say because I'm an old tech guy and I've worked in mobile for a long, long time, but do not get a new one of these for a year. So I've got this old one here. Yeah, do you know how many prompts that is? It's this number. 400, I stand with words because it always amazes me, 430,000 prompts, by just not having one device for a year. That is the impact that you can have by making the changes you need. So, small changes, but makes a big difference. And that's why you can see my little old iPhone there. That's time and missed thing. There we go. I built this presentation using AI myself, even some recycled images. That's how environmentally friendly I am, because I'm that odd. But you might think, Dan, you did it with all AI. Brilliant. But actually, what was the environmental impact of that? Well, let's work it out. It's less than boiling a kettle. Yeah, less than boiling a kettle. It's actually less carbon than I think it's half a cup of coffee. I always think it's a full cup. It's half a cup of coffee. And it's a tiny amount of water, less than one small glass of water, to do all the work that we've just done behind me that would normally take weeks, but actually took days in that respect to create the slides. So, let's start thinking about this together. Let's start being smart with our energy. Yes, okay? Be kind with your time. Yes. Be courageous with your money. That's going to be the big one. Spend it wisely. And let's be all willing to change. Now, put your hand up if you're an A. Put your hand up if you're an A. It does all link it. Excellent. A's, I want you to think about energy. I want you to think about how we can get smarter. Put your hand up if you're a B. B, brilliant. I want you to think about time. I want you to think about how we can be kind to other people. which is great, by the way, because Bs are always nicer. I just made that. Just a few of us with Cs, that's fine, because of course it would be. I want you to think about investing in yourself and with money as well, because Cs are always a little bit more bashful, and they never think about investing in themselves and money, so that's for you. And then Ds, but Dan, surely there were no Ds. There was the D, of course, because it's Dorothy. It's all of us together, okay? That's how we've got to think about how we can change. So how many people drove here? I think it was about a third of us, yeah? About a third or so. If we click our heels together and we want to change the world for the better, that's the number of people we need to do so. It is a tiny number of people that we need to change this world. Because AI won't destroy the planet, yeah, but business as usual will. You don't need AI to save the world. You just need humans that are brave enough to change. So can we do this? Can we, or can AI cut time, cost, and energy use by 2030? Well, it can, but only if you help it do so, and if you change too. The fifth industrial revolution. That was the fifth industrial revolution. My name's Dan Soderin. Thanks for your time.